You are now tuning in to Kickspot with Jinu Park and Migs.
And we're back here at the Kickspot. Welcome, Kickspotters. If you are tuning into the show, we really appreciate all the love that you've given us within the past, few months, especially during the pandemic. Maybe you guys are lonely and need something to listen to, but we're glad we're that guys. We are the people. We're the people. But we really appreciate it, and for all the messages and all the love that you're sending out, we really appreciate that as well. But today we have an interesting topic, and it's kind of interesting to me because I don't really know what realm this is.
I know, me too, right? Like,
for us, usually we're very good at scripting stuff out and the bullet points we're going to talk about, and then just elaborating on that.
Yeah.
But we don't know too much about the topic that we're going to talk about today, and that's why I find it very intriguing, and I'm sure that everybody else finds it intriguing as well too. But today we have a special guest with us, and she goes by the name of Karina. Woo!
There's the applause.
There we go. We have a live audience, obviously, in my place.
That's right.
So, Karina, tell us a little bit about you. Where you grew up and what you like to do. We'll just start off with that, and then we'll talk about our main bits and pieces, and then Migs will take it over after that.
Okay. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So thanks for having me here and for being interested in this topic, which I obviously think is really important. Yeah. So as you said, my name's Karina, and I was born and raised in Norwalk, California, so a bit south from here, maybe about an hour.
Is that a 562 area code?
Yes!
Okay.
562.
I've never had anybody be prideful about the 562 area code.
I have a ton of clients there, so yes.
Okay.
And also Long Beach, most
Long
of it is
Beach,
562.
yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
LBC.
Yep.
Okay.
Represent.
Yeah, and I grew up in Norwalk, a little more south of LA, and I am 7th out of 8 kids, so that's something that's meaningful. Family.
Oh, man.
My parents are both immigrants from Mexico. There's 4 girls, 4 boys. In high school, I played a lot of sports, so I got to experience a lot of being really aggressive and a lot of body injuries which are going to be applicable later on as well. And I attended UC Merced, where I played basketball as well. And
okay.
I did not know this.
That's what's up.
Yeah. And in college, I started to really kind of come back more into myself and start to know more about myself. I started doing meditation and reading a lot of books like the 4 Agreements that really helped me see the world and myself differently. And some of the things that I really like to do include dancing. I love to dance salsa, bachata, kizomba, so that is something that I am missing during these times. I enjoy being out in nature. Over the course of the past 3 to 4 years, which is post-grad in a way, I have been experiencing a lot of physical and mental challenges, which have really kind of veered me off to, in some ways, isolate, but also strengthened my ability to do the work that I do now, which we will talk about more later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, speaking of the fact that you are Mexican, everybody on our show that comes on the show,
First
timers,
you might come back later, but on your first time,
have to go through the rigorous questionnaire. And it's based off your heritage. Mm-hmm. So Migs has prepared 5 questions for you.
Just 5.
Just 5 questions for you. And no pressure so far. Out of the 17, 18 shows that we've done, everybody has batted over 50%. So no pressure for you. Just want to throw that one out there.
Let's see how well you know Mexico.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right,
we'll see. All right. We'll give her the easiest question.
Okay.
Not who. What is Mexico's capital and largest city?
Guadalajara?
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
No, I'm sorry.
That's not the capital.
No, yeah. I said,
what's the capital?
What's the capital? Do you know? That's the question. What's
feel
the
like- I feel
capital?
like I know
And
this
it's the
one.
largest city also. What's the capital one?
El DF, Mexico City.
Mexico City is correct.
Yes.
Okay. I thought she didn't know that one.
I was getting a little scared.
Scared.
That's like
Okay.
saying Washington D.C. ain't the
Yeah.
capital.
Yeah. They saying LA is the capital of California.
Exactly.
Yeah, no. All right, you passed that one. Okay, number 2. Who is the current president of Mexico?
I don't know that one. My dad would know it because he follows up.
You
and
want to
keeps
call your
up with
dad?
him.
You want to phone your dad?
It's ironic because your friend Ish also didn't know this answer.
Yeah, it's weird. But it's Señor Andrés Manuel López Obrador. Did I say that right? I did. I did
guess,
say that
yeah.
right.
Yeah,
bruh.
sounds good.
It sounded good. So yeah. All right. Third question.
So 1 and 2. 1 and
One
2,
and two.
Karina.
1 out of 2. Okay, I'm gonna give you the hard ones now. Okay. What is the main religion practiced in Mexico?
Catholicism.
Okay. All right.
Okay, that's okay.
Okay, that was easy.
Okay.
Man. My bad.
2
All
out of
right.
3. 2 out of. You just got to get this one
Okay.
to be over 50%.
Let me see. Ooh, here we go. What popular sport was Mexico introduced to by the Spaniards?
Soccer.
No.
No.
You can get one more guess. You want me to repeat the
I
question?
don't know if I know this.
Is it bullfighting?
Oh my god!
Is it? Oh yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Wow. All right. Is that 4 out of 5?
It's 3 out of
3 out
4.
of 4.
So you don't have any pressure now.
Okay, no pressure because you're.
So
at-
you just got one more.
You'll get
last question.
60% if you get this wrong. Okay. Okay, here we go. There's like so many that I can choose from. Like I want her to get it wrong, you know? Okay, let's
What's
see.
the population?
Yeah, what's like the total population as of today? No. Okay. In Mexico, tacos are typically served in what type of tortilla?
Corn.
Okay. Damn, I'm trying to confuse her.
Tortilla.
Tortilla is the right answer, so that's pretty good.
Well, congratulations, 4 out of 5, Karina.
80%.
We're very happy you
what's
are
up.
Mexican American.
Yeah, you definitely know your heritage.
You're
for
not
the
just
taco
American,
question.
you're Mexican American.
That's awesome.
But Karina, going into the topic here, body coach.
Yes. Body coach.
Before we decided to do this, I had to ask you what a body coach was, but you decided to flip the script on us, and you decided to say on the show you'd like to ask us what we think a body coach is.
Yeah.
And before you came here, we still had no clue.
Yeah. Thank you. I was like, what are we going to talk about today?
I-
He goes, body coach. I'm like, what the heck does that even mean, bro?
See, like, okay, when I think of body coach, I think of someone that is spiritual.
Okay.
That's just my thought.
Okay.
That is trying to understand their body a lot more,
Okay.
because that's not something that we think about.
Okay.
We just do things on a daily basis without actually mentally realizing what functions happen.
Okay.
And that is my perception of what a body coach does, is really guide you through the inner part of your body.
Okay.
That's my perception.
Okay.
Okay,
Would
now
you-
your turn.
Okay. So for me, it goes a little bit more deeper than that.
Okay.
Jinu Park.
Okay.
Like you went maybe like 50 feet deep.
Okay.
I'm going to go by like
That's pretty far.
like 100.
Okay. But you don't know how to swim, so I don't know.
Shut your mouth. I don't. You're right.
So I don't know if you should.
Hey, there's thing called like a life vest, okay?
true.
That helps me and my body to swim.
True, you are
All
right.
Okay. So, anyways, to me, Karina, I think a body coach, when I hear that term, it has something to do with like wellness. Like, you know, body coach, like intertwining your spiritual, mental, physical side in order to feel fulfilled with your body. Like, I mean, well, not with your body. I'm saying like by utilizing possibly every part of your body. And as a coach, you try to coach that person like, all right, for your spiritual, this is how you can utilize your body. For your mental, your you know, every brain cell you got, whatever it is. That's what a body coach to me is. We're probably both wrong.
I'm just trying to figure out how that's 50 feet more than what I just said, because that was just
No,
that
mine
was
was
exactly a repeat of what I just
bro,
said.
Mine was deeper, bro.
Okay. All right. So I guess we're gonna clear things up for both of us. What is a body coach?
So surprisingly, you both nailed a lot of things. I'm not sure if you've been studying my Instagram.
No, I have never looked at. I didn't even know you had an Instagram. Right, you know?
But you both nailed like great pieces of it. This is a question that a lot of people are like, what does a body coach do? You know, and I don't know. This isn't like a proper title for the work that I do necessarily. Like, I don't know what other people that do this kind of line of work would call themselves, because I do a variety of different things. And like both of you said, you know, the spirit and helping people develop a relationship with their body. Because like, as you mentioned, a lot of people go throughout their day with not being aware of their body. They just completely forget about it. And it's like,
See what I said.
Okay, that's one piece.
Just 50. Okay.
yeah, so like, you know, that's something that's really important. It's like, wait, every day, every second you have a body. How can you forget about it?
Yeah.
How can you just go your whole life without even thinking about it? And like you said, I do work with people individually to support whatever aspect of their being needs support, whether it's their physical body, actually just having physical pain. Like some of the people that come to me, clients, it's specifically because they have a pain in a specific spot. Other people because it is a spiritual thing that they need support in, or even others like mental. Like I have worked with people, you know, that literally have all this tightness in their body, a lot of pain. And through helping them move that pain, we also get insight about their life, what is happening in this moment, and how it's showing up in their body. And through working with their body, we release the physical tension, but also the emotional one and the mental one. And then I also have other people that I work with that have PTSD, and through working with the body, that's helped release it.
Okay.
Yeah. So you both actually did great.
She just elaborated on what I said further than what you said.
I don't know about that.
So let's agree to disagree.
Okay. So, what got you into being a body coach?
So like I shared earlier, over the last 4 years I've been having a lot of experiences. Like life just decided to give me all these learning lessons. And like I shared prior, when I was playing sports in middle school, high school, and in college, I have experienced a lot of physical injuries. So basically my entire life, I've been a very body person. Went to college. In college, I started doing yoga, meditation, reading, and then as soon as I could do my Kundalini yoga teacher training, I did it when I got back from Italy. I don't know if you've heard of Kundalini yoga.
No,
it's a very wholesome yoga practice that incorporates the spirit. There's like a spirit component, kind of connecting more to your inner being. There is a stretching, there's a meditation, there's mantra. I started practicing that in college in 2014, and I just continued doing it for like ever after that. So as soon as I was in LA, I did my teacher training for that after practicing for a year.
Oh, interesting.
And then after that, I was practicing that, and I intuitively started like identifying, maybe back in 2016, how when I was thinking something or having an emotional experience, I would have a sensation in my body. So I started like to integrate both experiences, like, oh, this just happened, you know, here, my left shoulder's hurting, but I'm experiencing emotional, you know, like a lot of emotional stress. And around that time, I had a shoulder injury in college back in 2013 when I was playing basketball. And I dislocated my shoulder, and ever since then, it would just dislocate. In 2017, it dislocated so bad that I had to actually rush to the ER and get it popped back in. That was the first time. During that time in my life, I already had awareness of the emotional experience and connection to the body. I was actually having a lot of emotional stress. And when my shoulder popped out, it was kind of like my body and my spirit were just having too much, that it was just like the breaking point. It was like shouting to be heard, you know, the pain. So that was the first initial full-on experience that life gave me. Like, okay, you want to test this out? Here's your school. And then after that, 2017, that happened. I was scared to like move, you know, like I was very aware of my body, like not trying to hurt it. In 2018, I had a dance injury. Right after I started healing from my shoulder, I went back into dance. I was only supposed to take one ballet class, but I love to dance, like so much. I went there, I auditioned, I got into all these dance performances. I even made the dance team for the school, and like I was just so thrilled, you know? So I was planning to do it all. 2 weeks in, my body gives out completely. I have to end up dropping from everything. As soon as I started having severe pain here in the solar plex area where the third chakra is, if people know chakra, the energy centers, I like right when it happened was like I didn't respect my boundaries. And in that moment, literally my entire midsection of my body paralyzed. Was like I couldn't move it. And in that moment I realized like, dang, my entire life, like I literally just would dance around my house, like everywhere, you know? I realized I couldn't move it. I'm like, wow, you know? And I was only 25 at that time. And like I had, my goddaughter was like 2 years old, and I'm like stressing out because my parents have to carry like the heavy things for me. And I'm just like, I'm so young.
Yeah.
And I ended up working through that, I don't know how many months later. I met you around that time, I think July, when I was already kind of done healing from that, like a lot. And then I got in a car accident.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I got into a car accident, and, that took me out completely. And as soon as the car accident happened, I was like, my nervous system, like it was, I already knew my nervous system was like fucked, and the car accident brought out more stuff, a lot more stuff. Yeah. I also got PTSD from the car accident. I also got agoraphobia, which is basically the fear of leaving your house.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
I recently discovered that I had that because I had previously had my parents' insurance. And the accident happened 2 days before my birthday. I think like 2 days before my 26th or 27th birthday.
Yeah. So you could still use it.
No, I couldn't.
Right before.
I could, but I had work, and I prioritized going to work.
Got it.
So I didn't. So I ended up like taking the stress of me healing myself. Mm-hmm. So that was also adding stress. I was my own lawyer during that time. Like I was, and I started to have vertigo out of nowhere. I would just dissociate. Like I had to like cancel out going to my dance classes. I had to cancel going to my embodiment classes. I did an embodiment training back in 2018 as well. And it just took over my life. But this time it was also mental. So it was like, what's going on? I started working with different healers. I'm like, I need to see a therapist. Something else is happening. And the therapist basically was like, you have PTSD. I was like, shoot, okay. And it continued to happen. And I started to dissociate. So when I would dissociate, I'd literally just have to lay down. It didn't matter what I was doing. Even at work, like sometimes I had to lay down for an hour. Like, I didn't have control over like my availability. And even though I was living in Santa Monica, like I hadn't been to the beach.
Yeah, wow.
Because it was so bad. So body work, I did a lot of the pain that did surface from the dance injury, a lot of the pain that did surface because of the car accident. Brought up a lot of trauma that I had stored in my body. And by staying present with my body, I got through the pain, and identify the trauma that was coming up to being released. And through doing that, I was able to release some of that trauma. And just as I continued to strengthen my intuition to heal myself, I started being able to do that for other people. So I'll be around people now, or I'll even have dreams about people, what's happening in their life. And my body guides me to support other people in healing their body.
So like what's crazy is that you get injured like quite often. So I'm just like worried that shit's going to fall on top of you.
Should we like I started looking at stuff.
I did.
Like,
I literally, you're like, I got an accident here. I got an accident here. I'm like,
maybe I'll turn this off.
Shit,
maybe I'll like put this right here.
This is going to fall down. But in all seriousness, like, usually when athletes, when they get injured, the first thing is to go to physical therapy. Did you go to physical therapy at all? Or how did you just decide that you're just going to go into this more spiritual realm?
So,
because nobody knows the path of like that.
That's a great question. So thank you for asking it. I mean, in high school, I don't think that we had necessarily, when I did have my high school injuries, I don't think that we necessarily had a physical therapist. I mean, I went to on Kansas site. I went to John Glenn High School. Like, we didn't have money for that, you know? So, I mean, we would ice our injuries, but I didn't really prioritize that resource, I think. Or I did have insurance with my parents, but I don't know. I didn't have time for it.
Kids are
being
weak
an athlete,
nowadays.
being an athlete.
Who needs that? His arms are like,
falling apart. No,
I still got the other hand.
right? No, so I didn't do it then. In college, I did have that outlet when I did injure my shoulder. But, I mean, my physical therapist did support, like he was like, work it out, you know? But eventually when I did, now with the other injuries, was like, I had been working so much in myself already that I think it was more just instinctual. Like, it was like my intuition's like, there's something else going on here. And I had already started coming around to this line of work.
Yeah.
That it was, I was working with the chiropractor who is really amazing. I started working with him around the time of my dance injury.
Okay.
He does NET, which is neuro-emotional technique.
Okay.
So he actually also does kind of the same kind of practices that I do. Like, I would test myself. I'm like, okay, what's going on? What organ? Because, like, you know, the points in your back tell you what organs and what emotions with that practice.
Absolutely.
And I would start testing my own, like, awareness of my body before going. And that support was good, like, as well.
There's a lot of like points and stuff like that, like you mentioned, that's more like Eastern medicine. So in Asia, it's like my mom, whenever I would get a stomach ache, she would always tell me to press this part.
Yeah, me too.
is
Is that an Asian thing?
I don't know if it's an Asian thing, but I don't know what
Like,
it
it's
is.
literally right here.
But I've seen like the chart where it's like linked
Yeah.
up to a certain organ and all that too. And it's ironic that with insurance, Western, you know, insurance doesn't cover like the Eastern insurance, which sucks. They recently migrated over to like chiropractic work, acupuncture, which is like very odd to get insurance help. But you know, like the body coach and that kind of thing hasn't evolved into that realm yet.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that it eventually does, because there is something spiritually where I feel like it does help, just not data-wise, it hasn't been proven in Western medicine.
Yeah, I mean, and also like as Asian parents, you know, to piggyback on the pulse, I mean, sometimes my mom would just put Vicks in my forehead and things like that.
That's a Filipino thing.
it's
right?
That's
gonna-
also Mexican.
Yeah.
Well, Vicks is also big Mexican.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think we got it from the Spaniards.
Yeah,
to be honest
yeah.
with you. They'll put it right here. They'll put it right here. My mom will put it everywhere, and she's like, "You'll be fine tomorrow."
Oh my
I was
gosh.
like, okay, like, you know. But my question, like, in all seriousness, my question is, so as for your line of work, is there like some sort of certification or anything like that you had to go through, or did you come up with your own kind of like ways to help heal people as a body coach?
Great question. So there are definitely programs that are kind of set and intended for you to develop skills like that and just have more awareness of the body. My specific journey has been very intuitive. Like, I'm learning as I'm going, kind of.
okay,
Like,
cool.
my spirit or my intuition guides me. I've literally worked with people and I'm like in the back of their spleen specifically. Like, not long ago I had a client, I'm in the back of her body and I'm like, I just keep hearing spleen. And she was working through anger, and the spleen like has stored anger, and you know, and I'm like, I keep hearing spleen. Just imagine your spleen, like, you know. And then she's like, well, what's up with the spleen? And I ended up looking up, and the spleen was exactly where my hands were.
Interesting.
So, you know, like I think because of how I've came across to this work has literally been through healing myself. That's how I've came across to it, and I have learned now over time, because I'm like, how do I identify what I do?
Yeah, so which brings me to kind of like to piggyback on that original question. Do you feel like you're a medium where you can sense certain energy and you can go, okay, no, it's right here, and like, cause I'm like, something's speaking to me in regards to this particular injury or illness or soreness. Like, do you feel like you're some sort of a medium where you can communicate through that?
Wow, that's a great. I never even thought about it in that way. Like, I've never thought.
It sounded like it was like that.
Yeah, I never even considered being a medium. I guess you explaining it like that. Yeah, in a sense. I've also, so doing this line of work, I would start feeling people's energy and where their pain was, and then I started working on people, but I would start taking on their stuff. So I had once worked with a client that I had a lot of like backed up stuff, and I got fever for 3 days, and I had to miss my actual real job for like my side gig, because then it was my side gig. So I ended up taking a Reiki training then to learn how to protect my energy. And I'm bringing this up because this is, I mean, Reiki is different than medium. You're right, because medium, you're basically receiving information, whereas Reiki, you're giving healing.
Yeah.
So I guess in a way, that's probably what it is.
I don't know, I was curious because like the way you were explaining not only your journey and how with all the accidents, be careful, okay? Like, you know, with all the accidents and how you felt like you learned from the quote unquote experience that if someone needed coaching from you, right, then you could already sense what they needed, and you can already kind of like speak through the spirits and like, oh no, I'm gonna help you like this.
And then you take
know?
in the pain.
Yeah, which is a crazy thing.
Yeah, because if he's a pain in the ass, you would take on that.
That's a completely different pain.
She was like, wait a minute.
No. I used to, but now I like somehow I can receive it, and once I acknowledge it in myself, like, okay, thank you, body, for letting me know that this person has energy stuck there. Like, you know, sometimes just by acknowledging it in myself, it helps it release. Like, I think now, like, my body is just so like, oh my God, we can pick up on this. Like, you know, it's just, it's just aware of it. I actually don't go out and do that. Like, I don't like go and feel into people's energy, because you already feel a lot as like an empath. Like, you know, I don't want to be out there like that. But no, now I can feel it. So now, like, sometimes I don't even feel it till right before I'm going to work with someone. I'll just sit down right before, and then my body will tell me exactly what's going on. And then when the session happens, then I like guide them through.
That's what's the word? Reiku?
Yeah,
Reiki.
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 Reiki. So our friend Sunny actually does that as well. And I've seen him where it's not like he's going around with like, you know, trying to find people with like negative energy or anything like that. But there was a person where their leg was like injured. And so he's like, hey, do you want me to do like an energy, Reiki energy thing?
Yeah.
And so I was like watching him, and he's literally behind him. And he's like up above like a hammer. And he starts like taking energy out. And I was just kind of like, what the heck is he doing? And then, you know, like an hour later, his leg was okay. Which I thought was interesting because he went to like a bunch of doctors. But pretty crazy. But going along with that, what we're going to do is in our next segment, we want to talk a little bit more about what are the practices that you have with some of your patients. Because I got to see Sunny in that action and what he was doing. I want to know if there's any different tactics or anything that you do that's a little bit different, or things that we should be aware of as far as for our energy as well. All right, so we'll talk about that when we come back.
You are listening to Kickspot.